Do Cincinnati and Oklahoma have a shot at getting in the college football playoff? The answer to those questions are yes, and they're no. I'll explain after the bumper. What is up, college football fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome to another edition of Coos' Corner, your go-to channel for college sports with a heavy dose of West Virginia Mountaineers. Got some really cool information to give you all in this video. Before I do, I want to ask that you please press that red subscribe button. Please give me that thumbs up and share this with your friends, please. All those things help my channel grow and help me reach my goals. Now let's get on with the show. College football playoff rankings came out this week, the first ones of the season. A lot of outcry, including from me. I'm not happy about it. I thought Oklahoma and Cincinnati both should have been ranked higher than they were, especially Oklahoma. And I thought Alabama was too high, and I thought Oregon was too high. But today, on the 365 Sports channel with the Sic'em 365 crew, they had a guest by the name of Dave Bartoo. I'm going to post a link to the show in my description box, as well as Mr. Bartoo's website, CFB Matrix. Mr. Bartoo is an analyst and a consultant, and he is well connected in the college football world, knows exactly how the college football playoff rankings are created, knows the metrics that are used to rank the teams, and basically divulged a lot of that on the show with the 365 crew. And I want to focus in this video on Cincinnati and Oklahoma. Before I do that, let's kind of talk about the CFP rankings and how they're put together. There's a group of 13 professionals, very busy professionals, who meet for 2 hours once a week after week 9 of the season and start putting these rankings together. So you got people that are that busy. They've got to have some kind of rules and parameters to work within, right? Bill Hancock, the executive director of the College Football Playoff Committee, and his team in 2014, when they first started doing this, put together 8 variables that they have to use to determine to rank the teams by. Some of them important ones are strength of schedule, top 25 wins, game control, which is a professional way of saying margin of victory, conference championships matter. Those things matter along with some other things. So that's how it starts. And when they rank them, they actually rank them 1 through 130 with no names beside the ranking. They base it strictly on the metrics. Then once they get them all rated, then they put the names out and reveal the names of the teams. And then if they need to, based on, I guess, their own judgment, make some changes, they will. Well, according to Mr. Bartoo, the Final Four every single year has required 0 changes because the ratings have matched the right four, put the 4 teams in every single year. And he thinks it'll do it again this year. Matter of fact, in this week's ratings, the ones that just came out, of the top 14 teams, there were no changes needed other than one, which was Cincinnati. And Cincinnati was actually rated 3rd in the country based on all the metrics. But once they revealed who the teams were and the committee saw that it was Cincinnati, they moved them back to number 6. Why is that, you ask? They don't like group of 5 teams and they don't want them in the playoffs. Point blank. Mr. Bartoo said it himself. They hate group of 5 teams. They don't want them in. And it is almost impossible, barring a lot of chaos, to get them in. Don't matter if they beat SMU 50-0. Cincinnati might have about a 1% chance or less of getting in the college football playoff as it stands now at 4 teams. Now let's talk about Oklahoma a minute. Oklahoma was at 8. A lot of people up in arms about that, including myself. They're undefeated in the Power 5 conference. Why are they at 8? Well, here's why. They don't have enough top 25 wins yet. But here's the kicker. Oklahoma, along with 5 other teams, still have a chance to get top 25 wins and still get in. Oklahoma still has Oklahoma State and Baylor on their schedule. Both of those teams are in the top 25. If they win both of those and then play a conference championship game, likely against one of those 2 teams again, and win again, that's a 3rd top 25 win, and Oklahoma gets in. The other 5 teams that control their own destiny and get in if they win out: Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State. Now, obviously, we know all those teams can't win out because some of them have to play each other, potentially. Well, some of them do, and some of them potentially do in conference championships. But any of those teams that went out are getting in. The one team not on that list is Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wins out, they probably won't get in anyway, because they don't have enough top 25 wins and don't really have enough. They've only got one more top 25 win likely, and that's SMU. And they don't like SMU either because they're a group of 5 team. SMU was in that 15 through 25 that they made changes to, because they basically took all the non-Power 5 teams that were in that and replaced them with Power 5 teams. What Mr. Bartoo called Prop 25, because they helped prop up the other teams in the rankings. So, a lot of people saying that the committee don't like group of 5 teams. That's actually true. They don't. The deck has been stacked against them from day one, probably intentionally, because they didn't want group of 5 teams in there, and they don't think that they don't think it's fair. One thing Mr. Bartoo mentioned, they don't think it's fair to put a group of 5 team in a game against a Power 5 team that's more physical than they are. They haven't seen the same amount of physicality throughout the season. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but that's his opinion, and apparently that's the committee's opinion. If Alabama and Georgia meet in the conference championship, and Alabama wins, then Georgia will probably still get in anyway if they just have the one loss, because Georgia has enough top 25 wins on their resume and and is the top game control in the nation with large margins of victory, that they would get in anyway. So there's a strong chance that Alabama and Georgia both get in. Obviously, we know Michigan and Ohio State can't all get in because they all play each other. Michigan and Ohio State both have one loss. If either one of them lose another game, they're out. If either of those teams don't lose another game, they're going to get in. So basically, you're going to have what the likely scenario we're seeing right now is the Big Ten champion, the SEC champion, the Big 12 champion, and probably another SEC team getting in. That's just the way it is. Now, there are other teams who can get in, but they need a lot of help. They don't control their own destiny, like Wake Forest, just as Oregon. Oregon doesn't control their own destiny either. They weren't on that list. Even though they're at 4 right now, they don't have a lot of chances to get top 25 wins on their schedule going forward. So Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio State could jump Oregon. Oregon is only at number 4 right now. That don't mean they're going to be number 4 at the end of the year. Now, they still could be. If they went out, Oklahoma loses a game, Ohio State loses again, Michigan loses to Michigan, or if Michigan loses a game, Ohio State loses a game, Oklahoma loses a game, then Oregon's probably going to get in, and Oregon doesn't, then they'll still get in. But they need all those other things to happen. So a lot of interesting stuff that I took away from this interview with Mr. Bartoo. So here's what we've learned. Cincinnati's not getting in. Oklahoma will get in if they win out. The Big Ten champion will get in if they win out. And there's a strong chance that Alabama and Georgia both get in. That's what we know. I'm sorry, Cincinnati fans. I'm sorry, Group of 5 fans. That's just the way it is. I don't like it either. What we got to hope for is either playoff expansion to 8 or 12 with automatic bids, or here's what I think is eventually going to happen. I think that this season, if Cincinnati goes undefeated and gets left out, it's just going to push us further toward a separation of the Power 5 from the Group of 5. And you're going to see each of them have their own championship. And the more I learn about this, that may not be a bad idea. Now, Cincinnati obviously is going to be a Power 5 team in a couple seasons, so hopefully they won't have to worry about it. But you got other schools that still will. It's still going to be an issue for them. So maybe they should just split off and have their own league, have their own games, their own scheduling, have your own deal, your own playoff, determine your own champion, and then let the Power 5 do their own thing. To me, that's a win-win for everybody, to be perfectly honest with you. Bob Huggins suggested they do that in basketball, that the Power 5 conferences have their own tournament, apart from the NCAA. I think we're going in that direction. I don't know about basketball. There's a lot of money made in the NCAA tournament basketball. But I do think we're moving in that direction in football anyway, especially with all this conference expansion stuff. I think we're heading in that direction. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the playoff expansion, if that happens, and if they allow automatic bids, which apparently some conferences are for and some are against. It's all going to, man, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts in college football. A lot of changes happening. It'll almost make your head spin. But it's very interesting to talk about. It's great for us YouTubers. Gives us something to make videos about. Listen, I hope you liked the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in to Couz's Corner. Until next time.